I'm Bub Smith, and today I'm going to be interviewing a good friend, known him a long time, former standout basketball player at Knott County Central, and he played also at Alice Lloyd College, and this is Daryl Slone.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for letting me come over and make this possible. So we'll just get started. If you don't care, just tell us a little bit about yourself, some background information, so the viewers can get to know you a little better. Like, where did you grow up, and what was life for a kid like there?
Okay, well, I grew up on Caney Creek in Pipapassus. Not much happened there. It wasn't too much to do, so a lot of us played basketball, rode bicycles, played in the creek, ran through the hills, did things along those lines, and really wasn't a lot to do, like I said. So my dad was big into basketball, UK basketball primarily, and so we spent a lot of time in the gym. He coached at Alice Lloyd College, worked there for many years. So
He coached at Alice Lloyd?
well, he was assistant coach for.
I didn't know that.
And he was actually inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
There, for what he did, and then of course, he started leagues there in the community, and so I was.
Well, that kind of answers some of my other questions. So tell me about your family life, like any brothers or sisters, or, like you said, what were your parents like? I mean, I didn't know your dad was that big into basketball.
Yeah, my mom was the typical mom, I guess. I was the baby, so I was a mama's boy, and I had two sisters, and they were somewhat older than me, and I, being the baby and being the only boy, I was, of course, into basketball, and I enjoyed it, but my dad really enjoyed it, and my mom was my biggest cheerleader, so we spent, that's just what we did. I didn't know anything any different. And where he, I guess you could say it like this, they moved from Indiana, like a lot of people in that time couldn't get work around here, so they moved away, but they always wanted to come back. This is where their family was.
So your parents moved to Indiana?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You lived in Indiana?
I was born in Indiana.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and born there, moved back here when I was 5.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, and my dad, being big into basketball, he took a job at Alice Lloyd College as the printer, and the big thing to that was he left Cooper Tires, and my mom worked for Kraft. They made really good money up there.
Wow.
And come down here, didn't make hardly anything, but he had a key to the college gym, and that was what he wanted, so that way I got to go in and play from.
So he wanted you to play. Did he have I guess he played a big role?
Oh yeah, no doubt. And not just that, but what he also did was every Sunday morning, everybody knew, instead of going to church, we went to the gym, and a lot of the kids, they knew this in the area, and it just started that we had a huge crowd on Sundays to show up and play ball there, and so it stemmed from that. All these little bitty leagues.
Are you talking like pickup basketball?
Well, yeah. I mean, they would be 10, 20, kids.
And how old were you here?
Oh, I'd be kindergarten, first grade.
Okay, I got you.
But it was all the way up to, high school kids would show up. Everybody. Again, there was nothing to do. People wanted to play ball.
So that was everybody's outlet.
That was what everybody did, and so it was just real fascinating that all these little bitty leagues and things you see, Dad started that.
Wow.
It started over at Alice Lloyd College, and and then it just grew into something else later.
So are you talking organized teams or just individuals just playing pickup ball?
No, organized teams. Pee-wee. The Pee-wee leagues started in the 70s over at Alice Lloyd. Dad started that. Yeah.
So can you name? I mean, like, tell me who. Are you talking about Caney had a team?
Caney had a team. Wayland had a team. Heineman.
They came from all over.
Yeah. Beckham Combs had a team.
Wow.
I think Car Creek had a team. Yeah.
And you played for Caney?
I played for Caney, and they had a Pee-wee team and a JV team. Your JV team was, if you remember, like Durant Sparkman.
I do.
Guys like that.
Yeah.
Dillard was their coach,
Okay.
I remember. And,
was that his dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dad was our coach, kids my age. And then you had Wayland. How they got into it was Earl, my uncle
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He coached,
Earl Sloan.
yeah, and Carl coached the Beckham Combs team. Ed, was so you had all
That's
kinds
pretty
of
cool. I did
Hyman
not
was in
know
it,
that.
yeah.
And they
Oh,
played
yeah.
in Alice Lloyd.
Yeah.
Wow. Who was the
that's-
team to beat, or was it different every year?
We never lost.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we were the team to beat.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, who else was on your team?
Well, it's just the Caney. Myself, I don't know if you remember David Lynn Sloan. He moved to Indiana years ago. Jeff Davis. He was at that time, Jerry Davis was the president of Alice Lloyd
I've heard of
College.
Jerry
His
Davis.
son. Michael Huff.
Any relation to Sonny and those guys?
Well, yeah. I mean, we were all, related in that area. But
Okay.
I'm trying. Arnie Williams.
Yeah, I remember Arnie. You're a little
Arnie's
bit older than me, so some of those names ring a bell. That's very interesting
Oh,
because
yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
So,
it was-
where were you living at this time? Right there on Caney, you said?
Where you would probably know I lived just
So
a mile
just a
up above
couple
the
miles
college, yeah.
from Alice Lloyd College. So you were just a hop, skip, and a jump. That was your.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
So back to your family. What you said you guys lived in Indiana? I didn't know that. So on game day, who was on TV in your all's house? Was it the Hoosiers or the Cats or who?
We moved back when I was 4, so I really don't know. Dad was a UK fan,
Okay.
so yeah, it was always UK.
I got you. I got you. So did your mother like UK or not, or did she not? She's not big into sports. Just cheering for you.
She was just my fan, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were your favorite teams as a kid? And when I say that, let's just cover it all as far as let's start with college. Who was your favorite college basketball team?
Well, I was always obviously a UK fan.
Okay. College football.
College, I really didn't follow college football any. But here's the caveat to that is I really followed UK, but I was also a Louisville fan.
Oh my gosh, I'm leaving.
I know.
You ready?
I know. You go around, with the L and all
You
that.
spelled that wrong. You said that wrong. It's Loserville for the record.
Louisville.
So
But I was always for the Kentucky team.
I will say this though, and Denny Crum, I respected him.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was born in '78, the year that Louisville didn't win it all. Kentucky won it all. So
That's my favorite team, by the way.
yeah, mine too. Joe B. Hall. But I remember, I guess Purvis Ellison, and was it Milt Wagner maybe?
Yeah, and you had Daryl Dawkins.
I don't remember him.
Daryl Dawkins. Yeah, that was.
The jumping guy, he could jump.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
I do remember him. Or maybe I'm thinking of Keith Smart for somebody.
That's Indiana.
Okay, that's getting a little bit back in the day for me.
Yeah,
But. So what about you didn't watch college football?
I didn't really. No, I never watched football. I either watched. It was either UK, and I was telling somebody this the other day. I know the young ones of today don't remember it, and for no. I guess they never have to remember it. It doesn't happen now. But we had tape delay.
Yes, I remember that.
And that was the big thing was that Kentucky played at 1 o'clock or something, and you had to avoid. Of course, there was no phones or anything, but you avoided the news because people stayed up at 11:30 at night to watch the game.
Yeah.
And
if you watch the news, they would
tell you, but they would warn you, hey, we're getting ready to tell the score, so if you don't want to know, yeah.
Boy.
And we used to call people because there was no the phones, you had no caller ID or something. And I remember we'd call like Rhett Gibson, Daryl Spartan, the coaches, and we'd call them. We'd say, Kentucky won 92-88, and hang up.
Oh man, that's awful.
Yeah, so that was the.
Was you being serious or just?
Oh no, yeah, we would tell them. The
Oh,
real
so you
score.
really
Yeah,
spoiled it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
we'd
wow.
We'd really do it. Yeah, it was, and they would really get mad.
Wow, I'd say so. What about professional sports? Who did you pull for in the NBA
Well,
growing up as a kid?
Larry Bird was my all-time
Celtics.
hero, so I was a Celtics person. And now I did follow the New York Yankees.
That's what I was going to ask you next in baseball. Any pro football?
Well, in that time, you was either a Cowboy or a Steeler in the 70s.
Right.
You had, you was typically around here. So I was a Steeler fan.
So hold on, Staubach was who?
He was the Cowboys.
Who was the Steelers?
I was Bradshaw, Terry Bradshaw. Franco Harris and all them.
The Steel Curtain?
Yeah, the Steel
Is that who I beat you with Madden on? Is that who you're with?
I don't recall.
All right, so you were a Yankees fan?
Die hard.
Not a Reds fan?
I can't stand the Reds. Sorry, man. And here's why.
Tell me why.
Okay, here's why. It's all and like the Bengals. If they never win another game, I hope that right on. And the only reason why is because I grew up a Yankee fan, and the reason is because my dad, when he was in the Army, he got Mickey Mantle was his. He tried to name me after Mickey Mantle.
Wow.
That was because that's who he watched.
Wow.
They back in those days I
didn't know your dad was in the Army.
they made them go watch games. Like he was stationed like in Milwaukee, I think, for a time.
Wow.
And so he got into really following the Yankees, Catfish Hunter and all these guys. That was, so when obviously he liked them, he followed them. So me being his boy, that's who I watched. That's who I pulled.
It makes sense. Apple doesn't
So I really
fall
liked them. Yeah, I really
far.
liked them, and I really wanted everybody else around me liked the Reds. And if they'd have just said okay, I'd have been a Reds fan. But they couldn't stand the Yankees. Yeah. They would talk bad about kind of like the way people do with Louisville. And so and so they would talk real bad about the Yankees.
So were they a rival? The Yankees and Reds were rivals?
But it was back in the time where the Yankees coming out of the 70s, Reggie Jackson and all them. And I was on cloud nine, and everybody hated it because the big red machine just over. Yeah. And then, in the early 80s, the Yankees were terrible, and I ate a lot of crow. Yeah. And so, in turn, I gave it back, and so I'm an anti-Red fan because of that.
Wow. So did the Yankees and Reds ever play in the World Series? I know the Reds won it in 75 and 76, maybe.
Yeah, and then the Yankees, 77, 78.
Okay.
And,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Reds fan for what it's worth. I grew up watching the 1990 Reds.
Yeah, that's and a little trivia. And I always this is, I think, really started me down the dark path, if you will. There was a baseball strike, 82, something like that, 83, somewhere in there.
I was 4. I
remember that. I'm sure you remember like Dave Concepcion.
I do remember that name.
Well, the Cincinnati Reds had the best team in baseball, the best record.
In 82?
In whatever season that strike was at.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Had the best record in baseball and didn't make the playoffs.
Oh.
And I know that because I let everybody know it.
Wow.
They played the first half of the season and then they went on strike. And then when they came back later, they played the second. And so they had it set up that whoever was, leading in the first two, they made it. And then they didn't lead in either one of them.
Oh, wow.
But when you added up their overall record, they had the best record.
See, they would have won it that year, too.
Yeah, they probably would have. But only a Red can have the best record and not get there.
That hurts. So back to the house on Caney Creek. Crazy question for a guy that's played basketball all of his life. Did you have a basketball goal at your house, or was it always you just played at the college?
Oh, no, I had one at the house.
At the house?
Yeah.
Was it the kind you could dunk on a 6-foot goal, or was it 10-foot?
I couldn't dunk on a 6-foot goal, so it wouldn't matter. But it was a 10-foot goal. I had one that was a 10-foot goal outside, and then I had one on the carport that I could dunk on.
I didn't.
So I had a Nerf one inside.
So any kind of rituals? Did you have to make X amount of shots before going in for the night? Did you shoot in the rain, the snow, blah blah blah?
Yes, but now I'm going to be honest. I was kind of made to do that. I didn't want to go out.
So Dad,
that was the difference.
Elmer,
yeah.
So Elmer said you're not coming in and eating supper until you hit 100 free throws.
Well, he wasn't quite that strict, but he was, he was like, the good players will be out there playing right now, and it'd be snowing.
Is that why you shot 95% from the free throw line?
Probably. Yeah. That's no. I mean, that was. I didn't want to go out there. I can tell you, and he said if I ever would have done that on my own, he said we would have packed up and moved to Lexington or something.
So is the basketball go still there? Because I know you obviously don't live there anymore.
Yeah, no, it's not there anymore.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no.
Did you ever play with anybody there, or friends would come there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'd all get together.
The guys from your team at the college.
What do you mean from
the?
From the biddy leagues.
Yeah.
We'd all
Because for those of you who don't know, Caney is it's actually not even it's Pippa Passes.
Yeah.
So what's the population of Pippa Passes?
Oh Lord. 250.
250 people.
Like that.
So yeah,
I'd say,
everybody knew everybody. They still do. So
well, times were different then. Back then, I'd come home from somewhere and somebody'd be out there playing. Yeah.
And you were the guy to beat on Caney, so everybody wanted.
But I mean, that was the way. You know how it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. you didn't lock your door, I mean, it would be nothing for me to, come home, Keith Sparkman be in there watching TV, I mean, that's eating my candy and using my deodorant,
Oh, Keith, we'll get to him later. Keith, he's another good free throw shooter.
Oh, yeah.
And a ball handler. He liked to handle the ball, didn't he?
He could handle it and he could shoot it.
What's the age difference between you and him?
We're the same age.
Same
he was
age.
1 year behind me because he was, from West Carrollton.
Carrollton. He
West
lived in
Carrollton.
Ohio, right?
Yeah, and so when he came back, he was. But now he was a better baseball player. He was a good.
Is that
basketball
true that he could throw a curveball?
Oh, we down here, we were kind of sheltered, we were limited to what we could see. And Keith came down here, and we was playing Little League, and Keith came in, and I forget the team it was a Car Creek team, and they were undefeated. Nobody could ever beat them, and we couldn't beat them. And Keith came in, and we played him, and nobody had ever seen a curveball. And I mean, he threw one, and I mean, it would break this much. It was
I've heard that.
You couldn't catch it, and they couldn't hit it, and we beat them.
Wow. So it is true.
Oh, it is true.
That's cool.
He could throw it now.
That's pretty wild. So back to your basketball days. What grade did you begin playing basketball for a team aside from the itty little bitty leagues I didn't know about? Like, where did you go to elementary school?
I went to Caney. I started, played on the varsity there in the 4th grade.
So hold up. So for those who don't know, I'm from Caney, Knott County, but I live in a place where we have K through 5, and then we have a middle school, which is 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then we have a high school. So Caney, where you played, Caney Elementary was K through 8?
Yeah.
So, and then after that, you went straight to high school, no middle school.
Right.
So when you say you played varsity in the 4th grade, what's varsity entail? Is that 6th grade, 5th grade?
That's, typically what you would probably think of 6 through 8 right now.
6 through 8?
Yeah, I mean, but now we didn't have, I think we had a B team. I never played B team, so I don't know, but I think we had a JV or a B team. But,
Wow. So you played varsity in the 4th grade? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, and
what position?
I was a guard.
Guard?
Yeah.
Like point guard or just shooting guard?
Point guard.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have the height back then too?
I was a 4th grader.
Taller than most kids?
Yeah, I was taller than most.
But probably not
graders,
these 6th graders you were playing with.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I was pretty small, weak. That was my.
Yeah. Who was the coach?
Red Gibson was coached my 4th and 5th grade year.
At Caney?
At Caney, yeah.
Wow.
That's where he started.
I didn't know that
Yeah.
either. That is pretty wild.
That was his first year.
So that team obviously was Caney, and you said you played point guard. Mm-hmm. What was that team like? I mean, were you guys any good or?
We were kind of coming along. We were really down. Winning just I guess a few games, whatever. But this kind of started. We were competitive.
Wow.
And 4th grade we did really well. My 5th grade year, we were in the hunt. I guess got beat in double overtime in the tournament. I guess, and then from 6th grade on, we were the team then.
So did you guys? Is that like bus rides over to Car Creek and then bus rides over to Hyman? Did you guys do that back then?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's and for those of you who don't know, those were some wars, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
I mean they got kind of intense. Mm-hmm. I mean these little rivalry games. I was able to see some of those when I was younger. What would you say your most memorable moment from your time with that team would be? If one memory stands out from your Caney Elementary playing days, is there one certain memory?
I would have to say, well, there'd have to be a couple, I guess. But one was, I have to say, I was blessed. I've been very blessed with coaches. Got Red Gibson. He started, and then of course later he was my high school coach, and then I actually ended out his coaching career. I helped him coach, so
wow.
we kind of saw every phase. But he was there the first couple of years, and then Daryl Sparkman took over
at Caney.
Yeah,
that's my uncle, Daryl Sparkman.
Yeah, and he was the most enthusiastic, excitable person you could ever be around. And he could get, how they say you couldn't get blood out of a turnip. He could.
Pretty intense coach.
He was very, very intense. And so I had to set that stage because I never will forget one time we were playing and we were playing this team and now I don't remember the team name, but we were down, I don't know, 15 points or something in the second half. We made a huge comeback. We got to where we were down 1 with 1 second left, and a guy by the name of Scotty Triplett, not little Scotty. We had 2 Scotty Triplets.
Not the mailman.
No, not him.
There was another Scotty.
There was another Scotty Triplett who was in my grade. We called him Big Scotty and Little Scotty. And Big Scotty, he played just, it was his first year. He was an 8th grader with us, and it was his first year. We was playing this team who was they deemed unbeatable.
Who was it?
And I think it was RW.
Oh, from Hazard?
I'm thinking, yeah. But he was at the free throw line, and again, man had not scored. He didn't want it. He was one of them. He would hide he didn't want it. Well, he's at the free throw line with 1 second to go. And there's a timeout, and I never will forget Daryl Slone, coach, was sitting there. He was saying, "Now you're going to make it." You know how he would get you right in your face. He would break pencils, on chalk, because we had boards and pencils back then. He would break it, and never mind. You're going to make it. You're going to make it. Now get out there, And then as we was breaking from the huddle, he'd grab me. He would shake you. He'd just get so. He'd say, "Now you listen to me. When he misses, you get the rebound. You put it in."
Did he make it?
He made it. He banked the first one in and then swished the second one.
That's awesome.
It was
and you guys won the game?
No, we won the game. And that was probably, and then another one was Cheetos.
Oh, Lord.
Cheetos hitting.
Is that Keith Sloan?
Yeah.
Cheese.
Sloan,
we called him Cheese. He was. I heard he was a rough one.
He was. But Rhett Gibson would get on him so bad. And I mean, it was. So it had things like that. And then Kerry Ratliff.
Kerry Ratliff.
Kerry Ratliff hit a
He
shot
played?
at the buzzer. My 7th grade year, championship won the game.
Really?
Yeah, at the buzzer.
Dang. Where was that at? Do you remember where that happened?
School. Yeah.
Where?
At the middle school.
That's the
old
high
Knott
school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
Yeah, some fun memories.
So, were practices similar under Daryl and Rhett, or were they totally different? Because I know both of those guys had good coaching pedigrees. They were successful coaches.
Yeah,
right?
they were. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I'd be honest with you, I can't really remember I remember certain things. I think Rhett Gibson was just more of if I can say, a technician as far as on fundamentals. And Coach Sparkman had a lot of plays. Yeah. He had a lot of set offenses and everything. But in the heat of the moment, Sparkman would just he would scare you to death where you just had to go out and do it. I mean, you was just afraid not to.
How many more can you name off your 8th grade team at Caney? Can you remember the starting 5 or not?
Lord have mercy. Let's see. Myself, I think Keith
Sparkman.
Yeah,
he played.
Yeah. Well. He was a good one. Sharpshooter. Michael Huff. He was my height or a little bigger.
Oh wow.
My goodness, a guy named David Lynn Sloan, I think he was there.
So all the guys you played little bitty ball.
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
mostly.
We all came up together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So it sounds like those Caney elementary days were pretty awesome.
They were fun.
All right. So you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So after the Caney elementary days, where you played from 4th grade all the way through 8th grade, you would go on to Knott County Central, correct? Mm-hmm. And not to be confused with Knox. For some reason, this is where he played, Knott, K-N-O-T-T, and there's also a K-N-O-X. He played at T-T, Knott County Central, and that's in Hyman, Kentucky.
Yep.
So did they have, I guess they had a JV team and a varsity, right?
Had a freshman JV and varsity. Yeah.
So how did that work? I mean, as far as like, obviously a 9th grader, and you were obviously going to play basketball there. You had to start on the JV 9th grade team?
Well, yeah, we started, I was on the freshman and the JV team. And then midway through the season, I got moved up to varsity.
That's what I was going to ask next. So it was possible for a freshman to play varsity?
Yes and no. I was, at the time now, you got to remember things have changed now. And a lot of times, you have certain things that are just, this is the way it is, and you just don't deviate from it. And freshmen played freshmen, and some of the freshmen played JV. with the sophomores, and you
Okay.
didn't play varsity until you was a junior.
So
That was just
varsity was junior and
junior
senior.
and senior. That's
Okay.
just the way it was. And if
Okay.
you were occasionally your sophomores could every now and then get on there, but I was the second freshman to ever get to play varsity. BB King was the first.
Wow. BB King.
Yeah, he was the first, and then I was the second.
Wow.
Now they play when they're in the 7th grade.
Oh yeah.
But
So who was your JV coach then?
Rick Gibson,
Oh, Rhett Gibson was the JV. Who was the varsity coach?
Eddie Gibson.
Relation?
No relation, but he's from Lower Caney.
Oh, really?
Down there, yeah.
So what about, there was another coach, you said, how many coaches? JV, varsity?
Yeah,
and then-
Rick Gibson was the freshman and the JV.
Oh, I got you. So he didn't have a problem letting you play up, losing his star player to the varsity?
No, well, no. I mean, because that's the one thing. When you're a freshman in JV, at least back in those days, your job was to get them ready for that level.
Oh, okay.
To get them. Now it's everybody wants to win, but back then it was.
So when you're talking a freshman, you're talking, what is that? How old is that? 14, 15 years old?
Yeah, about 14, 15.
So you were a freshman playing in the varsity games?
Mm-hmm.
So you had to see a discrepancy in like talent and strength and size?
Strength was the big one.
The big one?
That was the big thing is, because again, this was back in a time when, you didn't, you just didn't know, we didn't have the advantages that
You
people
couldn't
had
scout
today.
the opponent.
It was more along the lines of, I didn't lift weights,
Oh, okay.
in grade school and,
Right.
and do this strength training. I mean, I was always just playing ball. So whenever, I got out there as a freshman, I was playing against, 18-year-olds.
Right.
And me just making a half or cross court pass,
Was different.
it was different than them
Really?
making a half
So it really
cross
was
court
that
pass.
different?
Yeah, so that was my big adjustment. But
So did you guys play for that freshman season? How did it turn out? I mean, like, how much did you play
Well,
JV and how much did you play varsity in that season? 50-50? Was it?
well, I know I still played. I played all the JV.
All the
but
JV
I got
games.
to where I was playing about half or 3/4 of the varsity game.
Did that happen on the same night? So
Oh,
you
yeah.
played the whole JV game, 4 quarters.
There was one time I played a freshman game, a JV game, and played every minute in the freshman and JV, and then played about 3/4 of the
Wow.
varsity. Yeah.
Could
But
you do it? Could
when
you
you're
do that
young-
today?
I can't watch that many today.
How did that team turn out? I mean, with a varsity team, I guess that year. How far do you remember?
Well,
do you have
yeah,
any idea?
I can't remember the specifics, but we were not very good. That's one of the reasons why I got bumped
Okay.
up.
Makes
They
sense.
said, I guess to quote him, the coach was, if I'm going to lose, I can lose with the future rather than what I got now. And we just were not very.
Was the JV any good?
JV was very good. Yeah, we had a good, the future looked good.
Yeah. So back in those days, tell the audience what year we're talking here.
83 to 87.
So 1983 to 1987, things were obviously a lot different. So did you guys, what was the extent of a road trip? Like, did you take, I know today these teams will go to Florida.
Yeah.
What did you all do, like, as far as?
Mostly it was just local. Our big exciting trip, we would go to Lexington every Christmas.
Oh, yeah?
So, and we would play a couple of games down there and we'd go to the UKIT.
Really?
That was, do you
I
even
remember
know
that.
what
That's the one Kentucky played in.
yeah, that was the University of Kentucky
yeah.
Invitational Tournament. They
Yeah.
held a tournament every year around
Yeah.
Christmas
But
time.
you guys played down there too somewhere?
Yeah, we'd go down there and schedule a couple of games, stay in a hotel and go to the UKIT.
didn't know. That's
Yeah,
pretty
that
cool,
was-
man.
That was pretty neat.
So basically, we'll just run through real fast. That was your freshman
Mm-hmm.
year, 1983. You played JV, every JV game and all that, and then a lot of the varsity. So what about your sophomore season? What was that like?
Sophomore season, we were much more improved.
Were you all varsity that year?
I was all varsity that year.
No JV stuff. So you were Eddie's that year, Coach
Yeah.
Eddie Gibson's the whole year.
Yeah, and we started out really good. I think along the way, I don't know if it was injury or what, but along the way we kind of faltered down the stretch, I guess.
No way you started though, did you, on that team, or would you? Is it possible?
I can't remember. I think I did. If
Started?
I'm not mistaken. I believe so.
Wow.
I can't believe I can't remember that, but I do. If I didn't, I played most of the game.
So was that still Point guard, shooting guard, same?
Yeah, point, yeah.
Did you? Yeah, okay. So you never played past the guard position? No forward? And
No.
obviously no.
No, no, I don't think. I mean, I might have played some, in the paint or
But
something.
mostly
like that,
your
but I
primary position was guard.
guard, yeah.
Okay. Did you guys? How big was the big guy there? I mean, was he a big one, or I know a lot of high school guys.
I was probably. I know my junior and senior year, I was the tallest guy on our team.
Playing guard?
Yeah, but I had to be the point guard. But I think my junior year, I was shooting guard. Brian King was probably the point guard.
Brian or Ryan?
Brian.
Brian King. So what about the sophomore season? How far did the KCC varsity go?
We never made it far in the tournament. We made it to the regional, but I think we got beat out by Leslie County. I think in the first round probably.
So during your high school, the 83 to 87, did they do the WYMT Classic? That didn't
They
start?
started that in '88, the year after.
Right after
Yep.
you left. What about the junior season? Run me through that real quick.
Probably our best team. We were dubbed Rhett's Runts.
Rhett's Runts. So Rhett coached that team.
Yeah, Rhett then took over that year.
Okay.
And
So in your junior season, Rhett Gibson took Eddie Gibson's place.
yeah, and probably that was probably the best team I was associated with in high school. We just didn't have a lot of depth and we didn't have a lot of height.
Yeah.
But we 4 seniors and 2 juniors.
Dang.
And that was basically the
6-man rotation.
Yeah, that was it. And for the most part. And like I said, I was the tallest guy on the team. I was probably 6'2", 6'3" at the time, and we just couldn't be. That was the year that the time frame that Hazard was just loaded, and we just couldn't. Yeah, and they had, of course, Carl Wallace. He was just absolutely phenomenal.
Seems like I remember a Washington or something. Is there one of those? A Washington?
Well, no, not here, not for them, but
I don't remember.
But he was the player. They had several good players, but they had one guy that Dwayne Cornett, who came from MC Napier over, and he was 6'8". And we just couldn't, when they needed to, they got it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like today, I know a lot of teams recruit. Let's just be real. I mean, high school teams are comprised of kids that don't even know where to find the team they play for on a map. But when you played for Knott County, I'm assuming that was Knott County boys born and raised playing for that team.
Oh, yeah.
The way it should be, I think. So was Hazard like that, or did they pull some? Because Hazard had a bigger pool, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm in high school at the time. I know what people were saying, but I do know that he did play for MC Napier, which they were all right there together. He played for MC Napier the year before, and then he played for Hazard Day.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I forgot about that. MC Napier, and then there was a Dills Combs.
Combs.
They had some pretty tough teams, didn't they? So, but then they would later consolidate for Perry Central.
Yeah.
Knott County's never, well, to my knowledge.
Well, we remember Knott County Central. That was back in the 70s when you had Hindman, Carr Creek, and actually Caney had a great school.
And they consolidated?
They consolidated
I did not know
into
that.
Knott County Central in 1976. That's back before
Back when Larry Thacker played.
Probably.
I talked to him today, and he actually was talking about how good he was. So he said he was a really good ball player.
But Herbie Stamper was the first year. He was the first year that they.
He said Herbie was legit too. Is that true?
He was probably the best I've ever seen.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Herbie Stamper was my PE teacher, maybe, or I don't know.
He was assistant coach.
Or maybe his brother David Jeff. I can't remember. But.
Probably David Jeff. Oh, I don't know. Herbie was there probably, but because he was our assistant coach.
So Herbie Stamper was supposed. I mean, he's allegedly the best to ever come out of Knott County as a true Knott Countian.
Well, he played professional ball in Holland.
Herbie Stamper?
Where
did he play?
He went to
college?
Moorhead, and he set all kinds of records. He was.
I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah. He's Mr. Moorhead up
So
there.
why didn't he coach Knott County? He coached the girls.
He did for a time.
The boys?
No, I don't know if he ever coached the boys. I got out of it for a while and don't know really what happened.
So anyway, that's pretty interesting. I knew he was tough, but I didn't know he was that good. Sounds like he was up there with King Kelly Coleman, maybe, or is that?
Oh, different time, different game, you know.
So back to you. Your junior season ended. Didn't win the regionals.
No, we got knocked out in the semifinals to Hazard.
So what about your senior year? What about that one?
Didn't. Now we had an awesome season. I think we went 25-4.
Dang.
Won 21 in a row, on a roll, and got beat by MC Napier in the region.
Where was that at?
At Hazard. And we had beat them 3 times that year. And it was like each time they got closer and closer. And about 2 weeks before the tournament, we played them and we beat them by 2. And then they got us in overtime.
So would you say that game that they knocked you all out, was it legit, or you think there might have been some home cooking or not?
No, it was just.
It was legit.
It was legit.
The better team won that night.
They did. Yeah, we just. And I'm going to say we didn't play up to what we. I think along the lines we had a 21-game winning streak, and we were not playing as loose as what we once were, and we were trying, I guess, not to lose rather than to win.
So tell me, what was your favorite gym to play in during the road games throughout from '83 to '87? What road venue stands out to you as your favorite, and why?
Wow, that's a good question. I don't know of any in particular outside of I always enjoyed playing on the road more than I enjoyed playing at home.
But no particular. Why would you do that?
Because, well, just the way I am. You know, a little insight about me. Like I said, I'm a Louisville fan because people like you don't like them, and this and that. Yeah, I go against the grain, and I loved making somebody shut up. It's just there was something special about the crowd, getting on you and hollering and screaming, and then you hitting a shot and it going quiet, and me just wanting to look at you going, now.
So I've heard, seriously, I'm not trying to stroke your ego, but from what I've heard, you made quite a few people shut up over the years.
Oh, well, I don't
dropping. Did you have the 3-point shot then?
No.
Oh, it wasn't even there?
It started the year after.
Oh, so everything got, you kind of got
missed it all,
missed the good stuff. But.
Yeah.
So, no favorite gym other than, I don't, nothing stands out. I'm talking about as far as, maybe the.
I'm trying to think, but nothing really stands out.
Well, what about the least favorite? Is there a least favorite, and why?
I was never a real fan, even though I played well there, but I was never really a fan of the Breathitt County Gym.
Is that the dome?
Yeah, I don't know. I just never really, it just was not really, I don't know. It could have just been because it was a dome. I don't know, but never.
So what about the Hazard High School over here? It's called Memorial. Mm-hmm. Have you played there, correct?
Oh, yeah.
I love that gym. I think it's nostalgic. It's beautiful. It's, it's got a lot of history there. So was that?
It was.
Was there a certain crowd that, that was more raucous than the others? Or?
Oh, I don't know. I liked that gym. Yeah, I liked a lot of gyms. I can't. Again, I'm sitting there just trying to think. It
didn't matter to you, did it?
No, it really didn't.
As long as the shots were falling, you didn't care.
That's probably the least favorite gym of all time was down my freshman year in college. We're
going to get there pretty soon.
Okay, well, I'll wait.
Right.
I'll wait on that.
So,
no, let me go back. Cumberland High School.
Cumberland High School.
Cumberland High School, worst gym ever.
Why is that?
It's just, I had to think, and know that me and Freddie Maggard love him dearly. Got to know him pretty good.
Did he play for Kentucky?
Yeah, football. He was the football.
Freddie Maggard did he play at Car Creek basketball?
Well, his dad.
Oh, okay. I'm a little bit off. See, I gotta get up back to that.
Is that Lord? I'm thinking that was his name. I'm pretty sure.
But I have heard his name, so he must have been pretty legit in something.
But but anyway, if I remember correctly, it was like walking into a dungeon. You had the court down here, and people that's been there will know the court would be like down here. You had big walls. One side was nothing but wall. One was a big wall. It's like you was in an arena, gonna fight or something. And if I remember correctly, you had to go down in a hole to the dressing room, off to the side. And I could be putting 2 or 3 things together here, but yeah, that was it was nice.
So you was glad when that game was over and you guys got out of town.
Yeah, well, it was a fun game, but
who's the best player you've ever played against in high school?
I played against some good ones.
What player stands out? If you had to pick one.
Probably. And again, I played against John Pelfrey.
Oh yeah.
And he was yeah. We were same class.
Okay.
He was very good, and of course.
Rick,
No, what's Clay County?
Richie Farmer?
Richie Farmer.
Yeah.
Played against him, and I guarded him.
That's my
and
favorite Kentucky cat ever,
Couldn't,
man. Can you believe that?
I couldn't, couldn't stop him.
Was he
Of
that
course,
tough?
He was tough. He was tough. But
Is Richie taller than you or not?
No, he's a lot shorter.
Is he?
Yeah, but he was strong. He was so strong. I mean, he just he could take you in and bump you and get you and get. He just somehow.
So wait a minute. You played 83 through 87.
Yeah.
You played against the Bobby Keith teams.
Well, now we didn't play him on the schedule. It was all
in a tournament or
in
something?
tournaments or like Pelfrey. We played him a couple of times in summer ball.
So Pelfrey and Farmer stand out as the.
Kevin Ellery was probably.
Never heard of that guy.
He played for Washington County.
Washington County.
And,
Kevin
he
Ellery.
He went to Notre Dame. I don't know what happened to him after that. I don't know, but he was that year. I think Pelfrey was Mr. Basketball. I think Kevin Ellery was like third in the voting.
Dang.
And I was ninth.
Really?
So yeah, I was the first team All-Stater.
That was your
But
senior
it was
year?
it was my senior year, and it was so I got to play against some really good
I
guys.
told you he was legit. So
Well, I don't know. It could
you were ninth in Mr. Basketball voting that year?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the year Pelfrey won it? Okay. Did you never played against, speaking of those guys, Darren Feldhouse, he played it?
Yeah, in some camps, I played against him and some of that. I mean, but nothing really stood out. I mean, not that he wasn't good or anything. It's just I wouldn't probably match up with him.
Let's finish up your high school stuff. How many technicals did you earn in your 4 years of high school? And I said earn.
I got 0.
Really?
0.
Well.
I got 2 technicals in my life, and one of them was because, and I don't know. It might have been in high school. It might have been in. I don't think it was in high school though. I think it was in grade school. But it was somebody made a shot. And we were behind, and so you want to kind of stop the clock. And as the ball come through, I tapped the ball and kind of knocked it a little too far. To have them blow the whistle to stop the
Delay a game
Yeah,
thing.
and so they called a technical on me for that. So that was one. And then I got called a technical in college, and it just so happened it was right in front of my coach, so he knew what I said. It was. And I yelled at one of my teammates.
Yeah.
I said, something about he shot a wild shot, and I said, get your act together or something like that. And I guess he thought,
thought
I
you
was,
cursed.
yeah, he thought I was saying something to the official or something. And so they teed me up over that, and I started clapping on that one. I thought they had got the technical.
Oh, wow. So what loss in high school hurt the most or still hurts, and why? Is there one certain loss that might have?
I don't think there's a loss that hurts. We had, obviously, I guess probably there's 3 that stand out. One was my junior year when Hazard beat us, because Hazard went to the Final Four that year and I wasn't there, so I'm going to say
In the
everybody
Sweet
16.
Oh, yeah.
They went to the Final Four and got beat by the Louisville team,
Probably
Purvis
Ballard
and all
or
that. Yeah, it was one
Trinity.
of them. And really, from what I understand, they got rooked. I mean, they should have. That was an awesome basketball team. We had them. We were up 1 with 2 minutes to go, and that was that one hurt because we had our opportunity. Obviously, losing your last game that hurts, but again, not as bad, I guess. But my senior year, we went to Lexington Lafayette and played. And Lafayette, they were laughing at us when we walked in the gym. But we walked in, there was a guy hit a shot at the buzzer, beat us. It was a last-second shot. Next week, Lafayette plays in the Thoroughbred Classic, plays Marion, Indiana, the #1 ranked team in the nation. Yeah. And they drill them.
They beat Marion?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that turned our season. Lafayette was our last loss until we lost, because I guess it kind of turned our, season around.
Sometimes that's all it takes, man.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. What about, is there a sweetest victory that might stand out during your high school career, and why? Is there anything that, nothing?
Not really. I mean, they were all, I like to win.
That's
so
true.
They were all pretty good.
Good point. So, being ninth, I didn't know that in Mr. Basketball. That leads me to this question. Did you receive any Division I interest, any offers?
Oh, yeah. I had.
And who were your suitors?
A lot of your low, mid-major, Moorhead, like that. I mean, I had a full ride.
You talking interest or offers?
No, offers. I had offers. It came to me that, and this is what, as a young kid coming up, you want to go as big as you can. That's kind of your mindset. And I guess that was kind of in my mind, but, and I had some other, people that I just wasn't interested in. I mean, they would contact, and I'm not interested. I was interested in Moorhead. I thought that was, and Herbie,
Right.
kind of helped me there, I guess. But it just come down to I wanted my mom to watch me play, my mom and dad, and so I knew I wasn't going pro or anything. So hey, let's 4 years. And Joe Stepp gave me the best advice. If I can say this to anybody that might ever watch this, I don't know if you know of Joe. Joe went to Ohio State.
Oh yeah, I know the Steps real well. They've been really good to me.
I didn't know if you knew his basketball career.
Oh yeah, well Jim and Joe and Irvin and all of them.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
Joe was by far. He was just a phenomenal basketball player. Went to Ohio State.
I've played against Joe and Jim in the gym playing around, and they played like they were playing in a Division I game.
Played. He played right behind Adrian Dantley, if you remember him. I mean, so he could play. Jim, he could play.
He went to George Washington.
He went to George Washington, then transferred to Eastern.
Okay.
Irvin, Mr. Basketball in the state of Kentucky, he went to Eastern, then later transferred to Alice Lloyd.
When did he win that? Do you remember? Is he older than you or younger?
He's younger.
So he's younger. Yeah. I guarded him one time.
No, I'm sorry, he's older.
Irvin is? Yeah. Because he did win Mr. Basketball.
Yeah.
And
he won in 80, 81, something like that.
Oh, so wait a little bit before you. I guarded him one time in a pickup game at Allen Central High-School, and I was a little 19-year-old loudmouth, and I told him, I said, I'm going to hold you to 20. And
which quarter?
Exactly. He literally came across half court. I'm telling you, 2 steps across half court and nailed one and looked at me. Yeah. And I was just like, that was a humble moment.
He averaged 52 points a game his junior and senior year.
Where did he play?
No three-pointer, Phelps.
And
no three-point shot.
The reason I laugh is because I'm from a law enforcement background, and Phelps is a rough little place. It used to be. So if he played in Phelps, man.
Well, and like I said, it was different.
We'll have to get him on this show.
But yeah, well, he'd do it. But here's the thing is, Joe told me, he said out of all of them, then of course you remember Gary. Gary played for Madison Central.
Did he really?
Yeah, he played for Madison. Had a solid.
I forgot about
played
Gary.
1920. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Most people do, because you had those high profile guys. Then Gary went to Alice Lloyd. He's a Hall of Famer at Alice Lloyd, 4-year starter. All this, and he said, and Joe told me, he says, Gary was probably the hardest worker out of all of them. Yeah. He wasn't blessed with their size.
Right.
I mean, he was smaller, but Joe said Gary had the best college career out of all of us.
Right there at Alice Lloyd.
Here you had Ohio State, George Washington, Eastern, and the reason because he chose the school that he could, he could go and he could play at and he could contribute. So that's why I said, well, okay, and it might have been a ploy for him because he was recruiting me at the time, but I went to Alice Lloyd. I was a 4-year starter, I had a great career. So
for those who don't know, Alice Lloyd College is a very small college. They don't even have a football team, do they?
No.
But now their basketball team is in the NAIA. Can you explain that? It's not, obviously you've got Kentucky who's NCAA, Moorhead and all that stuff, but these guys were legit, and I watched them play when I was a kid, and it was as good as anything the NCAA had to offer. When you guys would come to Georgetown College and play, those were some wars.
Yeah, we were different. We were. Now, the thing about Alice Lloyd is our whole team was from local. You drove to each other's house.
That's cool.
I mean, there was nobody from probably Kermit, West Virginia was as far as you went.
Right. So Kentucky's made up of people from all over the country.
Yeah.
So
wow. So we had so we just really gelled. They tried to teach us defense, but we like to shoot the ball. We would average 90 points a game.
I remember. So you started all 4 years at Alice Lloyd?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and you picked Alice Lloyd, which was one of my previous questions, because obviously family reasons. You wanted your family to be able to see you play.
I wanted my mom and dad to see me
without
play.
having to travel all over the place.
Because we didn't have money, man. We were.
I understand. It's and then so. Alice Lloyd, was I correct? That was NAIA back then also?
Yeah.
And they still are?
They're Division II NAIA now. Back then, there was just one NAIA, and we were in the KIAC, which
That's
was,
what I was.
which was us, Cumberland, Georgetown,
tough teams.
Pikeville,
Yeah.
Campbellsville.
Yeah.
A lot of, especially your Georgetown and your Cumberland was the team back then.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, they were the number one.
See, I moved from Knott County, where Alice Lloyd College is, to Georgetown, Kentucky, where Georgetown College is, and they were tough. They had, was it Coach Jim Reed? Was that his name? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they had,
Happy
they won the
Osborne,
national championship, I think, when I was there.
I think Cumberland did too. The season before, Cumberland was kind of it changed in my years there. Maybe my freshman and sophomore year, it was Cumberland. Cumberland had won like 10 years in a row or something like that.
No
And then
way.
Georgetown kind of took over.
That's when I
there.
must have moved there, because I moved there in about 88. And that's when they had some really tough teams, man, and they were really good. So real quickly, let's run through just Alice Lloyd, your freshman year. I mean, any success? Was the team really good? What was it like?
Oh, we were very good, and we were still young, but yeah, we were on the cusp, I guess.
Yeah.
We were that team that we were competing, we were competitive, but we were coming up, something to be dealt with, and you could tell that there was something going to be close. My first welcome to college basketball was I can't remember the team name, but I know Phil Cox coached them.
From Vandy?
From Vandy, and
Phil
he
Cox.
recruited me. He recruited me from this place in Tennessee. I can't think of, but the first game we got down there, and a big brawl broke out. And
Between the players or fans?
Oh, everybody. It was everybody. And I remember there was one of our teammates looked at me and said, "Get used to this."
Wow.
This is what we do.
Where was, for some reason, it just hit my mind, Tusculum. That wasn't it, was it?
No.
Where was that
This was a beautiful campus. Oh man, I can't think of the name of it.
I don't know, but if
Yeah,
for some reason I was wondering, I didn't even know.
We played Tusculum, but
Oh, yeah, that's what I
that
thought.
wasn't.
So Phil Cox coached in the NEI?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what about, back then, I mean, like, still, so Alice Lloyd would play the regular season, and then you guys would play in, what's the tournament called, like the KIEC or regional or whatever?
Yeah, we'd play in the KIC tournament, and then we'd have our NAI. It was District 32, I think, is what.
So how far did that freshman team go, or your freshman team?
Well, we made it to the district.
To the district.
I think that was pretty much. I think our first year, maybe that was as far as we got. We won a game or two,
Okay.
in there along the way, but maybe their sophomore.
Who was the
junior
coach?
year. Joe.
Joe Stepp? He coached that team?
Yeah.
So about your sophomore year at Alice Lloyd, what about that one? How far did you go? And
Don't really remember. I think we won a game in the district, but that was the first year that Alice Lloyd ever beat Cumberland.
wow.
That was and again, like I said, you got to remember. I remember Joe put up. We signed a ball. We did everything just because whenever he first came there, I think they beat us. I don't know, like 90-27.
Oh.
Not us, but that's his first year there.
Yeah.
I mean, just big.
Yeah.
And so
that felt good, huh?
Yeah, it felt really for him. Well, for a school,
Well, that's awesome. So that team, your sophomore season, you guys?
We were very good, and yet, I mean, we were always, my whole time there, we always made the district.
Same with the junior season?
I think top 6 maybe made the district or something, and so we always made the district.
What about the senior season? Same thing?
Yeah, no, my junior year was probably our best year.
Oh, okay.
And it was probably my best year, simply because there was a guy named Robbie Russell.
I remember Robbie Russell. I do. You guys were awesome.
He was the guy that everybody keyed on, which left me open.
Yeah. And Robbie was a pretty athletic dude, wasn't he?
He was real skinny and tall, and I don't know, he just
I
knew
remember
how to score. Yeah.
I do remember that name because I remember y'all came to Georgetown, and I think y'all had the flu.
Yeah, that probably was the year that, but now, see, we always played Georgetown. There was one game I don't think we did. I think it was my senior year. They were number 1 in the nation, and we knocked them off.
Really?
Yeah.
That might have been the game.
But that was at Alice
here.
Lloyd. Yeah,
what?
We beat them 2 or 3 times.
I'm pretty sure they beat you all at Georgetown because I was at that game, and then I remember when they came back, you returned the favor.
Yeah.
I remember that. So,
But we had some. But my junior year, and that was the year David Martin, I think, he kind of turned the corner, and he became all NAIA player. He was. We just had a complete team.
Yeah, that was some good old days. So
Henry Webb.
I was going to mention him, but I didn't know.
Henry Webb, Knee West.
There was, yep.
We
Did you play with Henry Webb? I didn't know if that was after you.
He was a year, maybe 2 years behind me. Now, the year after we left, after I graduated, they dropped down. That's when the NAIA split.
And they dropped down.
And they dropped down to Division II, and that's when they got in the TVAC. They left the KFC, and that's when they, to be honest with you, I was a little upset. Because
why did that happen?
Well, big thing, I think, number one, the size. I mean, they qualified for it, but the teams that they were playing against was teams we played for wins.
Yeah.
So they dominated for 4 or 5 years,
All right. I got you. Well, back to those other questions, it's probably going to be the same answer. You don't have any gyms that stand out as a collegiate player that you enjoyed playing or not playing?
As mentioned earlier,
the one
the one that I disliked
was Cumberland.
No, and I can't remember the name of it. It's in Louisville. It was a junior college. And
St. Catherine's.
it might have been. There's something real close
like
there. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, but the roof was real small. I mean, it's like you couldn't shoot with any arc on it,
Wow.
And so it made it really weird when I went 12 for 14 from the 3-point line
Wow.
that game. I can remember coming down on a 3-on-1 break and me stopping and shooting a 3-pointer.
So I forgot.
But you was just shooting it straight out, but it was one of those nights.
Yep. So you said the 3-pointer did come, not in high school, but you had it in college.
I had it in college.
Okay, and you used it.
And that's what you said. So I tried to look up some stuff, and I think.
Yeah, I was wondering because do you remember any accolades as far as like leading score? But you obviously you had a stellar career because you played up while you were young. You always played, a couple grades ahead, but. Do you hold any records or not, or do you know?
I went back and tried to look at some stuff. And
besides flagrant fouls, probably.
Yeah, flagrant. Yeah. When I was in college, I will say that I made 355 threes. Now, I don't know where that lines up, but at that time, it was the most.
355 threes in 4 years.
Yeah,
4 seasons.
Yeah, and
I have to look deeper into that.
And shot over 50%.
From the 3-point line?
3-point line.
Gosh.
I did have, I scored over 1,600 points, over 500 rebounds, and 500 assists.
Where's that at? College or high
Alice
school?
Lloyd, yeah.
Alice Lloyd.
Now, not Central, I don't know. I do know that I scored at least 1,000 at all levels.
Oh, yeah?
Grade school,
wow.
high school, and college. So
it's pretty impressive.
there you go. I don't know, but that was, that's.
So if you
shoot enough, you can score.
That's right. And so if you had it to do over again, would you do anything different at any time, or do you like it just how it unfolded?
I don't know. You'd always like to maybe change a thing or two. I really wish that I would have, looking back, I was not blessed with any athletic ability.
I know.
And it's just true. My feet keep me from, just keep me from doing a lot of things. And I had really bad feet. And so it really kept me to where I was not, it wasn't because I didn't work at it, but I wished I would have worked a little harder, if nothing else, for my mom and dad.
Yeah. So
I could have took it or left it, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Just to rapidly end this thing, I want to hit you with these while it's on my mind. So did you get burned out then?
I don't think I got burned out. I loved to play. I loved probably my worst year as far as playing was my senior year in college.
As far as mentally or what?
Just all around. And the reason, because I knew it was over.
Oh, okay.
To me, it was over then.
Well,
I always had that next year to prepare for. And when I walked in my senior year, I said, well, this is it. And most people would have probably went out with and I was just like, it's over.
So speaking of that, you said Herbie Stamper played across overseas. Did you get any kind of interest overseas or nothing like that?
No.
Okay. That's a different.
That's a whole different, yeah.
And it's also different times and different eras, things. And now we got the AAU summer ball and its exposure, but so what advice would you give to any aspiring basketball players today that are those young boys that are like you, shooting outside in the rain and the snow? What would you tell them today?
Go to church.
That's a good answer.
That's what I would tell you, because you no matter what, it's great to look. I think back, and people talk about it a lot of times. I don't even remember most of the stuff. I really don't. It doesn't seem like that it was my life. I mean, I just don't. I remember us playing Madden, football. That I really, enjoyed that. I remember, just little things that we used to do. But the basketball seemed like somebody else. It's like I was watching it now. So it doesn't stick with you. It doesn't, even, like we can toot our own horns. Like I said, it's great. I went up into our attic and looked through some stuff to try to find some stuff, Yeah. I mean, that's where it's at, Yeah. Right. It's good. It's fun. Give it your all. Work hard. Stay clean. Yeah. If it's your passion, then go for it. But don't sacrifice your soul for it.
That's a great answer. And so one last thing, so tell us, what are you doing now? This was 1983 through whatever your college career ended.
Through 91. Yeah.
83 through 91. And today we're in 2023. So what are you doing now? And how's life treating you now?
Well, in 1995, I started work for Community Trust Bank, and it was an up and down year for me because my mother passed away that year. I was born again Christian that year, and then I started working for Community Trust Bank, and I found out I was going to be a dad that year. So it was a real, big year in my life. Yeah. But ever since then,
what year was that?
1995.
I was a junior in high school, so that's when I would come down there because maybe 96. I remember Emily.
Yep.
Riding in your house. She was riding her little tricycle through the house. I'd push her.
Yep.
Wow, that's been that long, man. How old is she now then?
She's 26 and living in Florida.
Wow.
So,
Oh man.
But yeah, that's so from that point on, I've stayed at the same job, still working for Community Trust Bank. They great company to work for. I enjoy it. Yeah. I'm plugging them, so maybe I'll get a bonus out of it.
There you go.
Something. But no, really great company. Again, like I said, I was a born again Christian, so I'm a minister. I love that. I love my church. Love my family. So I wouldn't trade any of that.
And I will see you in the morning, and hopefully you'll be preaching over there. And
amen.
You can check him out at Rock Fork. Is it Rock Fork?
Rock Fork Regular Baptist Church. Yep. And I could still take you one-on-one. Don't. He was going to ask me.
I do have a question. And we're going to get to this will be a second part of this because we don't have the facilities here because as you can see, he's a golfer now.
Yeah. That's
so anyway,
my speed now.
I was going to ask him, do you believe you can make a layup, a free throw, and a three-pointer in 30 seconds?
I can. First, I have to ask which hand. Which hand do you want me to do?
Let's just do the dominant hand because you're 70 years old now. Let's see if you can do it. So
I could do it with both hands.
Let me ask you this: how quick do you think you can make a layup, a free throw, and a three-pointer?
Wow,
and I'm talking about in a row, not miss a couple threes. I'm talking about 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
Layup, free throw, three-pointer. Can you do it in 20 seconds? You wore number 21, didn't you? Or 20?
20.
Number 20. Let's do it in 20 seconds. There will be a second part to this video.
There's no problem.
It'll take him 3 days to do it, but we're going to.
It'll take one shoot in less than 20 seconds.
There you go.
You can't. That's easy. Come on.
There you go.
Are you going to be guarding me?
We'll let Kinsey guard you. So, but I do want to thank you for your time and letting us do this.
Well, thank you.
Because people like Kinsey here, my granddaughter's with us today, and she's heard a lot about you, and she likes sports, and now she can put a face to the name, and she can get a better idea of who Daryl Slone is. And when she gets married here in about 20 years, she can get a mortgage loan from you like I did. He got me a 2.5% rate at Community Trust, and
there you go.
It's a beautiful rate.
Can't do it now.
No, that's why we're going to live where we're living forever. So, But thank you for your time and letting us
All right.
come over and make this
Appreciate it,
happen.
brother.